Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks preview video. Today we'll have a look at a new tier 8 medium tank by the Swedish faction, and that is the Lansen C. And yeah, that tank came out of nowhere, and it might be even the first step for a tier or for a new mini branch for the Swedish tanks, meaning a new medium tank branch. So we have heavies, TDs and mediums, which would also really play into our favor when you think about it, that we have the Primo Victoria and the Stridswagen M42 and kill me because the name I can't remember because it's so many numbers tank. So yeah, today we'll have a look at the stats of the Lanson C, but before we do that, let's have a look at what Wargaming is telling their super testers. The Lanson C is a Swedish medium tank, and get this, it goes really fast. The power to weight ratio is outstanding at 28.4 HP per ton, with a top speed of 50 kilometers, which is 50 kilometers per hour, please, not kilometers. That's pretty decent, but it's the same syndrome the CDC has. Great power to weight ratio, but only goes to 50, and that's kind of if you think about it, like a Scorpion G gets to up to 60 kilometers per hour, easily. While the top speed isn't anything to necessarily write home about on its own, the substantial power to weight ratio allows it to hit the top speed quickly and maintain it on soft ground. That could indicate that the tank has good terrain resistances, which would be nice, but who knows. Additionally, boasting solid firepower and 105 cm cannon with 320 average alpha, while 320 alpha is above average for a tier 8 medium, its accuracy and aiming parameters prevent it from being a reliable sniper, and that is definitely true. We'll see that in a minute. Coupled with a relative low armor values, this will likely place the Lanson C into a flex support category, similar to the mid-tiered US mediums. On paper, I would liken the vehicle, I think it would mean like link the vehicle to a tier 8 T20 with better mobility. You need to rely on your mobility and the excellent gun depression angles of -10 degrees. The vehicle will excel at claiming key map positions early, engaging in some active scouting, we get to that in just a minute, then flexing to another flank for support. The Lanson is a social vehicle. It fares better in a pack than it does in a one-on-one engagement. So laying down solid punchy mid-range supporting fire is the name of the game. And as always, those stats are subject to change based on testing. So please do not forget that those are just preliminary stats, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. But so far, a lot of stats didn't change from different tanks. I think the best idea is to have a look at this tank and, well, do a compromise or a comparison with, not a compromise, a comparison with the M4A1 Revolorize, because those two tanks really share, how should I say, the same role, I guess is best to call, mid-range sniping and, what's it called, mid-range sniping and supporting. That's the name of the game of the M4A1 Revolorize 2. You're not allowed to really go in, use your armor or anything, really. So, it is, the Lanson C has 1,350 hit points, which is 50 less than the Revolorize is giving us. The whole armor is 100mm with 40mm on the side and 25 on the back. My guess will be that this plate up here will be around 100mm, while this one down here will have much worse armor values, because let's be honest, that is what we know from tank building, because angled armor always has better values. Then the Leo is probably a good comparison here from Swedish tank building. Maybe even the lower plate could be 100mm, who knows? It could make sense from the tank building or the progression of those tanks. The upper plate though will be pretty weak, I think. Next up, the turret, which we can see not here now, is 70, 70 and 30mm. So yeah, this one probably 70, this one probably 70, roughly the same as the Leo, except for the sides also being 70. But it won't win a prize. It will probably bounce some tier 6 scouts, but that about it. Even if you're using 10 degrees of gun depression, you are most likely not going to bounce anything. It's like the same with the Leo. If you are lucky and hit up here, you might bounce, but other than that, 70mm is not going to make the cut. Period. There's nothing else to say about. But we have a 680 horsepower engine compared to the 550 of the Revolurisé. That's quite a big difference. And again, we have 28.4 horsepower per ton, which is a lot. It's almost double the value of the Revolurisé. It's not as much as the CDC has, and the CDC again is plagued with this, in quote, low top speed and horrible soft stats in the terrain resistance department. My guess is that this tank will probably have soft stats between the one of the Leo and the one of the Revolurisé, probably leaning towards the Revolurisé on that part to make it not too effective on different soils. Other than that, we have a turret traverse speed of 32 degrees per second, which is lower than the one of the Revolurisé, and a hull traverse speed of 36 degrees, which is once again lower on the than the one on the Revolurisé. Compared to the Leo, they are both lower as well. Now comes the interesting part though, 380 meters of fuel range, and for that I'm going to get us another nifty tank to have a look at. It just has the same amount of fuel range, that's it. That's basically why I'm choosing it, and that's the Chieftain T95 with coated optics, with improved ventilation, and obviously tank gun rammer, because that's the casual, or not the casual, that's the usual build, let's be fair here. You can get Brothers in Arms, which you probably got from a Primo Victoria tank or from the Stritzwagen Kill Me, because the name is so long or the numbers are so weird. And you are looking into something like situational awareness, you get a decent amount of 448.99 meters of fuel range, which is above 445 meters of fuel range, and you have a teensy tiny bit of camo braking. If you are really going all out with fuel range skills, you can bump it up to 457. And if you really like your bread with smalek, I think, oh no, that's Polish, I don't know what, Köttbullar most likely, or Köttbullar. It's 476 meters of fuel range if you go full out, and that's a lot of meters, but again, that's a hefty investment. I would look at this for the casual, no, not even, I would look at this for the casual player, and the other ones are for the people which are really having good crews. It really means that you can potentially active scout, but you are not going to be the perfect scout because you're missing 200 meters of base fuel range. Nevertheless, 448 meters of fuel range is decent, it's definitely decent. To the gun, and the gun is probably the most interesting part. 105 millimeters of caliber means that you can penetrate everything which is 30 millimeters thick, meaning you have no troubles penning the Stritzwagen S1, which a lot of mediums struggle with, period. Everything with 90 millimeters will bounce it, this one doesn't. Interesting would be though if it has APCR or heat shells. My guess is, from the numbers 242 millimeters of penetration for gold shells, that it will be a PCR or maybe another AP round. One thing which is kind of common for most tanks when it comes to premium shells, here it usually has a fixed, and not fixed, but a nice looking value. Either they are round numbers, like here 250, 330 on the object 140, and so on and so forth, or they are like 395 or something. Like, they're not really that weird numbers, so I don't think that 242 millimeters of penetration will be heat. 320 alpha is a pretty decent alpha shot, but it's not the 390 you would expect from such a high caliber gun. I think in my German video I forgot one last tank we could have had a look at, obviously opted for 16. This tank has a 320 alpha gun, I forgot about this one. And you can see the stats are actually quite similar. Even maybe it has, this tank will do have a better DPM though, so don't get me wrong. The Object 416 is a pretty strong tank, and I actually should buy it again, I guess. It's a fun tank even, yes. I should buy it again. Thanks for reminding me, guys, even though you didn't do it on purpose. The other tank I forgot was the V2 Concept TVP, which also has a 105 centimeter gun with 320 alpha damage. And this tank as well has APCR as standard rounds, but it's much more inaccurate, or not much more, but it has a quite the same-ish amounts of accuracy, but a lot worse DPM. So once again, the TVP is probably the worst tier 8 medium in the game. Nevertheless, 9.2 seconds reload time. What does this translate to? With a 100% crew, most likely in that chart right there. Well, we have 60 seconds divided by 9.2 seconds reload time. Oops, no. Divide, not multiply. Gives us 6.52 shots per minute. Times 320, the alpha damage gives us a DPM of 2086. Which is definitely decent compared to something like the Revelorize and the TVP VTU concept. And 10 degrees of gun depression, let's be fair here, let's be frank. This is a perfect value and it just feels so solid to work around that. Anyway, this was my preview to the Lansen C, the new tier 8 Swedish medium tank, most likely not premium. I do think that they want to introduce a tier 10 tank there as well. We'll see how it goes. Maybe there will be high damaging guns, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. Maybe they have great gun depression. I'm looking forward to that though. What are your thoughts on that tank or on the idea of Swedish medium tanks? Let me know in the comment section below, and I thank you so much for your attention and have a great evening. Bye bye.